I remember the day I landed in Paris like it was yesterday. The kind of memory that sticks with you, sharp and unrelenting no matter how much time passes. It was my first international trip. A big deal for a 24-year-old from Chicago who'd spent most of her life dreaming about Europe from the safety of her Midwest apartment. I'd saved up for months. Paris, the city of lights, romance, all that crap they sell in movies. I was traveling solo at first, with my best friend Alex flying in the next morning from New York. The flight was exhausting. Turbulence the whole way over the Atlantic, and I barely slept. By the time I cleared customs at Charles de Gaulle, it was late afternoon, and the jet lag hit me like a truck. I grabbed a taxi, fumbling with my broken French, and headed to the hotel I'd booked on a budget site. It was in the 18th arrondissement, near Montmartre, which sounded charming online, but felt a bit off when we pulled up. The streets were narrow, graffiti-covered walls, a few sketchy-looking guys hanging around corners smoking. Not the Eiffel Tower glamour I'd imagined, but hey, I was in Paris. I told myself it was authentic, real life, not touristy. I dragged my suitcase into the lobby. The front desk guy looked up from his phone, mid-30s maybe, with dark hair, a trimmed beard, and a smile that seemed genuine. "Bonjour, mademoiselle. Checking in?" he asked in accented English, his voice smooth and welcoming. "Yeah, hi. Reservation under Emily Carter," I said, handing over my passport. He typed something into the computer, chatting casually about the weather, how it was unseasonably warm for October. He was helpful, pointing out a nearby pharmacy on a map for my phone SIM card and recommending a crepe stand down the block. "You look tired from the flight," he added, handing me the key. "If you need anything, just call down. I'm here all night." "Thanks. I appreciate it," I replied, feeling a little less alone in this foreign city. He wasn't bad looking either. Fit, with kind eyes that made me think he was just doing his job, being nice to a solo traveler. I headed up to my room on the second floor, a tiny space with a lumpy bed, thin curtains, and a view of a brick wall. No big deal. It was cheap. I unpacked a bit, texted my mom back home that I'd arrived safely using the hotel Wi-Fi since my phone wasn't set up yet, and crashed for a nap. Alex's flight was due in at 8 a.m., so I told the desk guy, whose name was Mark, to transfer any calls if someone rang for me. A few hours later, around midnight, I woke up craving a smoke and something to drink. Jet lag had me wired, my body clock all screwed up. I headed downstairs. The lobby was empty except for Mark, who perked up when he saw me. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked, leaning on the counter. "Nah, time difference is killing me," I said, rubbing my eyes. "Mind if I step out for a cigarette? And maybe grab a water from the vending machine?" He glanced around, and then nodded. "It's late. The streets aren't the safest alone. Tell you what, I'll join you for a smoke break. I could use one." I hesitated for a second, but he seemed harmless, and honestly, the idea of not being out there by myself was appealing. Sure, why not? We stepped outside, the cool night air hitting my face, carrying the distant hum of traffic. He lit my cigarette first, like a gentleman, and we talked about nothing important, where I was from, what I planned to see in Paris. "You must get a lot of Americans here," I said, exhaling smoke. "Oh yes, but not many as pretty as you," he replied with a grin. It was flirty, but not creepy. I laughed it off, chalking it up to French charm. No weird vibes. He kept his distance. And after 10 minutes, we headed back in. "Good night, Emily. Sweet dreams." Back in my room, I dozed off again. But around 3 a.m., I jolted awake, thirsty and restless. Decided to go down for that water after all. Mark was still there. "Back so soon," he said. "Yeah, just need a drink." "Hey, did my friend call? Alex? His flight might have been delayed or something." Mark paused, then leaned in closer. Actually, yes. He called about an hour ago. Said he couldn't make it. Some issue with work. He's not coming to Paris after all. My stomach dropped. That didn't sound right. Alex had been hyped about this trip for weeks. What? Are you sure? Let me check my phone. Wait, no signal yet. Can I use the desk phone to call him back? He waved it off. No need. But hey, if you're alone now, why don't you come over to my place after my shift? It's not far. I have some good wine, and I can show you the real Paris. The spots tourists miss. No thanks. I'm good. Just gonna head back up. I grabbed a water bottle from the mini fridge, paid quickly, and bolted upstairs, heart racing a little. Something was off. His whole demeanor had shifted, like a switch flipped. In my room, I double-checked the lock, but sleep wouldn't come. I paced, wondering if I was overreacting. Cultural differences? Or was he just a creep? Then, the doorknob rattled. Soft at first, like a mistake, but it turned, and the door creaked open. There he was, Mark, standing in the doorway with a master key in his hand. What the hell? I yelped, jumping off the bed and backing into a corner. The room was tiny. No window escape, no phone in reach. Emily, relax, he said, stepping inside and closing the door behind him. I just wanted to check on you. You seemed upset downstairs. Get out! You can't just come in here! My voice shook, but I tried to sound firm. He didn't listen. He walked toward me, slow and deliberate, grabbing the back of my head with one hand, pulling me in. I shoved him hard, twisting away. Stop! No! He grabbed my arm, slamming me against the door. Pain shot through my shoulder, but fear drowned it out. Come on, Emily. I'm a man, you're a woman. Just let it. You came down twice tonight. You know you want this. To hell with you! Get off me! I screamed, kneeing him in the thigh. But he was stronger, pinning me there. His phone buzzed then. Once. Twice. Insistent. Cursed under his breath, glancing at it. Front desk. Customer waiting. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. He let go, straightening his shirt, and slipped out, leaving the door ajar. I didn't waste a second. Heart pounding, I grabbed my purse, phone, and key, waiting a beat before creeping downstairs. As I hit the landing, voices echoed up. Familiar ones. Alex. He was at the desk, looking rumpled from his flight. Look, man, she checked in hours ago. Emily Carter, can you call her room? Mark's voice calm as ever. I'm sorry, sir. No one's by that name has arrived. Maybe she went to another hotel? Paris has many. Liar! Rage boiled over the fear. I burst into the lobby. What the actual f***? I'm right here! Alex, this guy's a psycho. He just broke into my room. Alex's eyes widened. Em? What happened? Are you okay? Mark paled, stammering. This is a misunderstanding. She invited me up. He lied about your call, tried to assault me. We're leaving, now. We didn't wait for explanations. I raced upstairs with Alex, threw my stuff into my suitcase while he stood guard at the door. Back down, I slapped my key on the counter. Refund my card, and expect a call from the police. Mark muttered something in French, processing the checkout with shaking hands. We stormed out into the night, hailing a cab to a chain hotel near the Seine, one with security cameras and English-speaking staff. Needless to say, it was the scariest moment of my life. I remember the day I left for South America like it was yesterday. It was early 2019, right after I'd quit my soul-sucking job. My friends thought I was nuts, A solo female traveler heading into the wilds of Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, and beyond with just a backpack and a vague itinerary. I'd read all the forums, packed my pepper spray, and figured I'd blend in with my rusty Spanish from college. What could go wrong? My first stop was Bogota. I checked into a hostel in La Candelaria, the kind with bunk beds and communal kitchens where everyone shares stories over instant coffee. That's where I met her the first time, Maya. She was Israeli, probably mid-20s. She was sitting at the breakfast table, nursing a mug of tea when I plopped down across from her. "Hey, mind if I join? I'm Julia, from the States," I said, forcing a smile through my jet lag. She looked up, her face lighting up like she'd been waiting for company. "Sure. I'm Maya. Just got here from Tel Aviv. First time in South America?" We chatted for hours that morning. She was fresh off her mandatory army service, backpacking to find herself, or whatever cliche we all chase. She had this infectious energy, laughing loudly at my stories about Midwestern winters and sharing tales of hiking in the Negev desert. By noon, we had decided to team up for a day trip to Monserrate, the mountain overlooking the city. It felt easy, natural, like I'd found a travel buddy without even trying. But things went south fast. On the cable car up, Maya started fidgeting with her phone. "I think I left my wallet back at the hostel," she muttered. "No way. Want me to check my bag? Maybe you handed it to me," I offered, rummaging through my stuff. She shook her head. "Nah, it's probably in my room. I'll grab it later." At the top, we wandered the church and viewpoints, snapping selfies with the city sprawled below. That's when the storm hit. Out of nowhere, dark clouds rolled in and rain poured like someone had flipped a switch. We ran for cover, but Maya slipped on the wet stones, twisting her ankle bad. "Oh, this hurts," she groaned, clutching her leg. I helped her hobble back down, but by the time we had reached the hostel, her ankle was swollen like a balloon. The desk guy called a doctor, who bandaged it and said she'd be limping for days. "Bad luck, huh?" I joked, trying to lighten the mood as I brought her ice. She laughed weakly. "Story of my life. But hey, thanks for sticking around, Julia. Most people would have bailed." That night, over beers in the common room, she told me about her plans. Heading south to Medellin, then Ecuador. I was on a similar route, so we exchanged numbers. "Let's meet up if our paths cross," I said. Little did I know, they would, over and over, each time worse than the last. A week later, I was in Medellin, exploring the Comuna 13 neighborhood with its colorful murals and escalators snaking up the hills. I had met a couple of Aussies at my new hostel, and we were grabbing empanadas when my phone buzzed. It was Maya. "Hey, in Medellin too. Ankle's better. Want to grab drinks?" I hesitated for a second. Her bad luck from Bogota lingered in my mind, but I shrugged it off. We met at a rooftop bar in El Poblado, the trendy part of town. She showed up with two guys in tow, a Brit named Tom and a French dude, Pierre. They seemed nice enough, all laughs and travel war stories. "So, what have you been up to?" I asked Maya as we clinked glasses of aguardiente. "Oh man, you wouldn't believe it," she said. "After Bogota, I hitched a ride to Salento, the coffee region. Beautiful, right? But the Jeep I was in skidded off the road in the rain. Flipped twice. I walked away with bruises, but the driver broke his arm." Tom chimed in. "Yeah, we met her in the hospital waiting room. Crazy story." Pierre nodded. "She's got 9 lives, this one." We partied late, dancing to reggaeton until the bar closed. But as we stumbled back, Maya pulled me aside. "Those guys are cool, but I think Tom's sketchy. He keeps eyeing my bag." I brushed it off. Alcohol talking, I figured. The next morning, though, she texted me, frantic. "Julia, they robbed me! Took my cash and passport while I was sleeping! I'm at the police station!" I rushed over, helping her file a report. The cops were useless, shrugging about tourist problems. Maya was in tears. "Why does this keep happening? First the ankle, now this, and Tom and Pierre, gone, just vanished." "Vanished? Like, they left the hostel?" I asked. "Yeah, no note, nothing. The receptionist said that they checked out at dawn." I lent her some money for a new passport and bus ticket, but inside, a voice whispered, "Get away. This girl is a magnet for disaster." I said goodbye that afternoon, wishing her luck as she headed to Quito. I pushed on to Peru, trying to shake the unease. Cusco was a dream. Ancient ruins, vibrant markets, and the buzz of trekkers prepping for Machu Picchu. I joined a group hike to Rainbow Mountain, feeling alive for the first time in weeks. But on my way back to town, guess who I spotted at a cafe? Maya, alone, nursing a coffee with a bandaged hand. "Julia? Oh my God, what are the odds?" she exclaimed, waving me over. I forced a smile, sitting down. "Hey, Quito treat you okay?" Her face darkened. "Not really. Met a group in Ecuador. 2 American girls and a local guide. We did the Quilotoa loop hike. Stunning views, but then an earthquake hit. Small one, but it triggered a landslide. We barely made it out. One of the girls, Jess, twisted her knee bad. Had to be airlifted." "Jesus, Maya. And the others?" She shrugged. "The guide quit on us after that. Said I was mala suerte. Bad luck. The girls stuck around for a bit, but then they just disappeared. Left in the night without a word. I woke up alone in the hostel." A chill ran down my spine. Disappeared? Again? That's creepy. You think something happened to them? Who knows? Maybe they got scared off. Anyway, I'm here now. Heading to Machu Picchu tomorrow. You? I lied. Nah, I'm going south to Arequipa. No way was I joining her. We talked a bit more, her sharing wild army stories, me nodding politely, but I excused myself early, claiming a headache. Bolivia was next for me. The salt flats of Uyuni. Endless white expanses under blue skies. I splurged on a jeep tour with a mixed group. Germans, a Canadian couple, and me. We were bumping along the Salar when our driver pointed out a lone figure hitchhiking. "Want to pick her up? Looks like a traveler." My heart sank as we got closer. Maya, waving enthusiastically. "Julia? This is insane!" she yelled as she climbed in, dusty and grinning. The group welcomed her, but I felt dread coil in my gut. "What happened after Cusco?" I asked quietly. Her voice dropped. "Machu Picchu was a nightmare. Hiked the Inca Trail with a new crew, 3 Brits. Altitude sickness hit one hard, and then a rock slide blocked the path. We had to turn back. The Brits argued with the guide, and next morning, poof, gone, no trace." The Canadian woman, Lisa, overheard. "Gone? Like, kidnapped?" Maya laughed it off. Nah, probably just ditched me. I'm starting to think I'm cursed." That night around the campfire in our salt hotel, stories flowed. Back home, I was in a unit that dealt with border skirmishes, Maya said, staring into the flames. "Saw some shit. Friends lost. Maybe it's karma following me." The German guy, Klaus, leaned in. "Or maybe you're just unlucky. Happens to the best of us." But the next day, disaster struck. Our Jeep hit a pothole hard. Tire blew, and we spun out on the salt. No one hurt bad, but the vehicle was wrecked. We waited hours for rescue, baking in the sun. Lisa twisted her ankle jumping out, and the Canadians whispered about Maya being jinxed. When help arrived, I hitched a ride with another group, leaving Maya behind. "Stay safe," I muttered, avoiding her eyes. She grabbed my arm. "Julia, wait! Travel with me? It's lonely out here." "Sorry, I can't. I got plans." I pulled away. Chile was my escape. Santiago's bustling streets, wine tours in the valleys. I thought I'd outrun her. But 2 weeks later, at a vineyard tasting, there she was, chatting with the sommelier. "Julia? Holy crap!" She hugged me like an old friend. This time I didn't hide my frustration. "Maya, how? This continent's huge." "Fate, I guess," she said with a wink. But her eyes were tired, shadowed. Over wine, she spilled. After Bolivia, she had gone to La Paz, met locals for a death road bike tour. Brakes failed on one bike. Guy crashed, broke his leg. The group freaked, and by morning, half had vanished. No goodbyes. Vanished? "Maya, this isn't normal. Maybe you should go home." She sighed. "I know, but I can't. Not yet. Israel's waiting, but freedom, you know?" We talked deep into the night. "What if it's not bad luck?" I ventured. "What if something's following you? Like what? A curse? Or maybe I'm the problem. In the army, I lost a partner on patrol. Bullet meant for me. Survivor's guilt, they call it." For the first time, I saw beyond the chaos. A woman haunted, just like me, running from my boring life. But the next day, at the vineyard, a fire broke out in the fields. Sparks from a worker's cigarette, they said. We evacuated, but Maya's bag got left behind, burned with her clothes and money. "See? Infectious," she joked through tears. I helped her again, buying her a bus ticket to Argentina. "This is the last time," I said firmly. "Go home, Maya." She nodded. "Thanks, Julia. You're the only one who's stuck around, even if you run." Argentina was my turning point. Buenos Aires, tango, steaks. I was at a milonga, learning steps from a local named Carlos, when my phone rang. Unknown number. "Julia? It's Maya. I'm in BA. Bad news." My blood ran cold. "What now?" "Bus crash en route. Flipped on a curve. I walked away, but my travel mates, 2 didn't make it. The others scattered. Some just left the hospital without a word." "Dead? Maya, this is serious. You need help." "Meet me? Please, I'm scared." Against my better judgment, I went. She was at a cafe in San Telmo, looking gaunt. "Julia, I think it's me. People around me, they disappear or die." We talked for hours. "Tell me everything," I urged. She confessed. In Israel, during service, her unit was ambushed. She survived by hiding, but her best friend didn't. "I should have fought. Instead, I ran. Now it's like death follows me." But as we left, a mugging happened. 2 guys on a motorcycle snatched her purse. I chased them, yelling, but they got away. In the scuffle, one grazed me with a knife, shallow cut on my arm. "I'm done, Maya. You're toxic." Her face crumpled. "I'm sorry. Go. Save yourself." I left, heart pounding, and booked the next flight home. But this is not the end of it. A few months later, I got a Facebook message. "Maya. Made it home. Safe. Thanks for everything. No more bad luck. Yet." I replied, "Good. Stay there." I remember that day I moved into that dorm room at UCLA like it was yesterday. It was the fall of my sophomore year, and I'd just broken up with my high school boyfriend back in Seattle. I needed a fresh start, No more drama. Just focus on my psych major and maybe join a sorority. The housing office paired me with this girl named Emily. She seemed normal enough when we emailed beforehand. Blonde, from Chicago, into yoga and indie bands. We met in the lobby with our boxes, and she gave me this big, genuine hug like we'd known each other forever. "Hey, I'm Emily. Oh my God, your hair is amazing. Is that natural?" she said, tossing her ponytail over her shoulder. I laughed, feeling a bit awkward, but relieved. "Thanks. Yeah, it's all mine. I'm Jessica, by the way. Nice to finally meet you in person." We hauled our stuff up to the 3rd floor, chatting about our classes. She was pre-med, super ambitious, and had this infectious energy. "I can't wait to hit up the beach this weekend," she said. "You in? We could grab tacos from that truck on Westwood." "Sounds perfect," I replied, already picturing us as besties. The room was tiny. 2 twin beds shoved against opposite walls, desk, and a window overlooking the quad. We unpacked, blasting Taylor Swift playlists, and by dinner, we were swapping stories about our exes. "Mine was such a jerk," Emily confessed over pizza in the cafeteria. "Cheated with his lab partner." "What's your story?" "Long distance killed it," I said, shrugging. "Couldn't handle me being here." "Whatever. Good riddance." She clinked her soda against mine. "To new beginnings." That night, though, everything changed. We'd stayed up late watching Netflix, some rom-com to unwind, and finally crashed around midnight. I was exhausted from moving, so I fell asleep fast. But I woke up maybe 2 hours later to this blood-curdling yelling. "No! No! 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 No!" It was Emily, thrashing in her bed like she was fighting off a demon. My heart pounded. I sat up, clutching my blanket. "Emily? Are you okay?" No answer. She flung her covers off in one violent swipe, and they landed in a heap on the floor. The room was dim, just moonlight filtering through the blinds. She sat bolt upright, her eyes wide open, like she wasn't really seeing anything. Then she whispered, so softly I almost missed it. "Not the window." I froze. Was she awake? Dreaming? I whispered back, "Emily? Hey, talk to me." She didn't. Instead, she swung her legs over the side of the bed and stood up. She shuffled to the window. My mind raced. Sleepwalking? I'd heard stories, but this was next level. She grabbed the lock with both hands and started twisting it back and forth. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, over and over, whispering to herself the whole time, mumbling words I couldn't make out, like a chant. "Emily, stop! You're scaring me!" She ignored me. After what felt like forever, probably 3 minutes, she let go and muttered, "That'll do." And then she turned and started back toward her bed. But as she passed mine, she stopped dead, pivoted slowly to face me. Her eyes locked on mine, but they were empty, like staring into a void. She just stood there, breathing heavily for a solid 2 minutes. I could feel my pulse in my throat. Was she going to lunge? Scream? I didn't dare move. Finally, she whispered something incoherent and kept walking, right past her bed to the door. She reached out and dragged her hand down the wood from top to bottom, nails scraping lightly. Then she turned around, shuffled back, climbed into bed, and pulled the covers up like nothing happened. I lay there wide awake, terrified out of my mind. My skin crawled. What the hell was that? Part of me wanted to bolt, grab my keys, and crash on a friend's couch. But it was 2 a.m. and I didn't want to seem dramatic. Plus, she seemed so normal earlier. Maybe it was a one-off. Stress from the move or something. I didn't sleep a wink the rest of the night. Just stared at the ceiling, listening to her breathe. Morning came, and Emily woke up chipper as ever. "Good morning. How'd you sleep?" she asked, stretching and grabbing her towel for the shower. Fine," I lied, forcing a smile. "You?" "Like a rock. Must be the California air." She laughed and headed out. I never told her. How do you even bring that up? "Hey, roomie, you turned into a zombie last night and creeped me out?" We lived together for the whole semester, and she never did it again. Not that I'd noticed, anyway. I'd lie awake some nights, waiting, but she slept like a baby. We actually became friends, went to parties, studied together, even road tripped to Big Sur one weekend.
My sister Lily took me to the Burning Man last year. I usually didn't join Lily on her wild adventures, but I had just gotten dumped by my boyfriend and I needed a distraction. On our first day there, as we were exploring the area and looking at all the weird art installations, a really handsome bearded guy named Clay introduced himself. He noticed Lily and I were checking out an art exhibit made out of old motorcycles. He asked us what we thought about it. Honestly, I thought it was really ugly, but I didn't say anything. I'm glad I didn't because Clay said that he created the piece himself. He seemed really proud of it too. For the rest of the festival, we ended up spending a lot of time with Clay. He and Lily seemed to really hit it off. I liked him well enough, but it was obvious that my sister was the one he really felt a connection with. He had this artistic spirit, just like Lily. He'd come to music festivals throughout the year and really dive into the experience, and then he'd go back to work as an IT guy. Lily worked in retail, but her lifestyle was pretty similar to his. At the end of the 3 days there, I was more than ready to go back home. I really needed a shower. Plus, I needed to sleep in a real bed. I told Lily that I was glad that I went, but I never wanted to go again. She understood, especially since I didn't meet a guy like she did. So we packed up all our stuff into our little rented RV and got ready to head out. Clay came over and invited us to come visit him sometime. Lily said yes, though I really hoped that she was just being polite. A guy like Clay is fun to be around at some random music festival, but he's not the kind of person I want to hang out with in the real world. I would have forgotten about him completely, but about a month later, Lily started getting these really nasty messages from a bunch of anonymous accounts. Someone had found her on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, pretty much all of social media, and they were saying the nastiest things. She kept reporting the harassing accounts, but as soon as she got those blocked, somebody else popped up. It sounded like it was all coming from the same person. Lily really started to freak out. She didn't want to get the police involved yet, but she knew the messages were becoming more threatening, so it was only a matter of time before things escalated, and that's when she decided to call Clay. At the festival, Clay had explained that part of his job was finding information that no one else could. That included tracking down stalkers and harassers. He had a pretty high success rate, at least according to what he told us. Lily and I were home at the time. She had gotten a particularly nasty message on her email, and she finally called Clay. I knew that she hadn't talked to him since the festival, but I don't know if maybe they texted each other since then. After all, they did really hit it off. Lily kept everything on her speakerphone so that I could hear. She and Clay talked about the online harassment and the best way to stop it. She read aloud some of the messages she received, and Clay sounded genuinely disgusted. He let her finish. Then he said that he'd finally identified the harasser within the week. He spent a lot of time building online contacts and staying active on the deep web where his messages couldn't be traced. Honestly, he made himself sound like a hacker or something. He didn't ask for payment or anything. Lily was just so grateful that she promised to come visit him as soon as this craziness was over. After the call, I was nervous that Clay wasn't going to come through. He seemed like the kind of guy who overpromised and underdelivered. but Lily seemed 100% confident in him. For the next 2 days, Lily didn't get a single harassing message. She thought that Clay had done his job, but I warned her not to get her hopes up. She called him for an update, but he didn't answer. I left Lily alone for a couple hours to run some errands, and when I came back, I saw Clay's truck parked in the front of our yard. He'd come to see Lily. I parked on the street since the driveway was blocked, and I started to head inside. When I got to the porch, I froze. Clay and Lily were talking in the living room, and I could hear their voices through the window. They were talking about me. "I'm so sorry," he said, "but it looks like your sister was the one who was posting about you." "I can't believe it," Lily said. "Why would she do that?" "Because she's jealous of you. She doesn't want us to be together." Clay was going to say something else, but then he turned and looked right at me. I'd been caught. I slowly walked inside, ready to defend myself against Clay's obvious lies. I was closer to Lily than anyone else. There was no way that she'd believe his story. When I stepped inside, both Clay and Lily looked at me like I was some terrible criminal. Lily even stepped behind Clay so that he could protect her against me. "You don't believe him, do you?" I asked her. Lily looked down at a piece of paper in her hands. I guess Clay had printed out some fake evidence against me. She thought for a long moment and then asked me, "Why are you doing this?" "I'm not," I shouted. I stepped forward, ready to grab the bogus evidence in her hands, but Clay stood in front of me, puffing up his chest. "I think you should leave. This is my house too." Clay and I started loudly arguing with each other. Lily just watched the whole thing horrified. I looked at Lily, my eyes pleading her to believe me. I told her that he was lying. He was probably the one harassing her all this time. It was some big twisted plan to stay in her life. For a second, I thought she believed me, but then she stepped forward and pushed me. "Get out, before I call the police." I was heartbroken. I couldn't believe my own sister would trust some computer stranger that she met at Burning Man over her own blood. I knew Clay was manipulating her, but if I stayed any longer, I'd just make the situation worse. I turned around and left. I knew that I could stay with my friends for a while, but I wanted to help Lily first. So I drove straight to the police station and explained the situation to the police. The man did a quick Google search of Clay. He didn't even need to use the deep web to find out that Clay had a criminal record for harassment and stalking. He printed out the file, and I took a photo of it on my phone to show Lily. She never responded to my message. That afternoon, I came back home. The whole place was empty. Clay and Lily were gone, and most of her stuff was taken too. It's been months now. I'm still working with the police to track down Lily, but I'm slowly losing hope. She made a horrible choice when she decided to trust him, and I'm terrified of what happened to her.